Hello, good afternoon. My name is Oscar Cepeda. I am the chairperson for Project Review Committee. We're going to go ahead and start today's meeting at 1:34 p.m. Welcome.
Thank you, thank you. Is he there? Is he hooked up?
Yeah.
He's hooked up to the
Yeah.
meeting?
Yeah,
this is Caesar. I'm here.
Okay, good, Caesar. Ya no sé dónde estoy.
So first, we're going to go ahead and do roll call here for our city staff. Again, starting with myself, Oscar Cepeda. I'm the chairperson for PRC and also the associate planner within the planning division. We're also joined by Jeff O'Neill, our city planner. Garrett Keller also joins us as our planning technician. With the engineering division, we're joined by Javier Sanchez, our engineering and project management director. With the fire department, we're joined by Clayton Dignam, as a fire marshal. Also Cheyenne Kyle. From building, we're joined by James Wickersham. With public works, we're joined by Robert Alvarez as our field services manager. Joe Baeza also joins us as our field services superintendent for streets. For the police department, we're joined by Mark Acevedo as our police department lieutenant. And that is all from city staff. Yes. Now, at this time, I'm going to go ahead and open oral communications. This is the opportunity for public members to address the committee on any matter related to project review. Hearing none in person, are there any members joining us online that they would like to address the committee on any matter related to project review? Hearing none, I'm going to go ahead and close oral communications. So for today's agenda, we have 5 items. We're going to go ahead and start with the first item on the agenda, which is PRC 2025-004, which is a multifamily residential project. Let me go ahead and share my screen of the site plan here. And just to know, Claudia Calderon also joins us as our Community Development Director and Zoning Administrator. So the first item we have is a multifamily project consisting of an addition of 2 new 810 square feet units located at 1511 West Putnam Avenue. The property is zoned medium density residential, which is RM2, and also has a general plan land use designation of medium density residential. So I'm going to go ahead and start with planning comments. As far as the project, it is permitted in that zone district. The zone district of medium density residential may allow up to 15 units per net acre. At this time, the project is proposing a total of 2 units with the addition of the existing single family unit. As far as comments from planning, it's complying with the Porterville Development Ordinance in regards to development standards. I do want to make a note in regards to the driveway to connect to the existing units. Make sure we identify on the plans private and open space for each unit, which is a requirement as part of the development ordinance. Landscaping standards complying with Chapter 303 of the Development Code. Any requirements for trash service complying with Section 300.13 of the Development Code. Any fencing, if proposed, complying with Section 300.03. Looks like you do meet the minimum parking standards for the units. If you do propose any future signage, multifamily projects are permitted one building mounted sign and one monument sign not exceeding 32 square feet. And that's all comments from planning. With that, we'll pass it along with fire department with Clayton.
So the project shall comply with the latest applicable codes. Fire hydrants shall be placed on distance no greater spacing than 300 feet for commercial, multifamily, and mixed-use projects, measured as the hose lays, not in a straight line or with a radius. Where two or more on-site hydrants are required for the project, the fire hydrant shall be on a looped system. Depending on the location of existing fire hydrants, required fire flow, additional hydrants may be required. All hydrant locations shall be approved by the fire department. On-site fire hydrants and mains shall be provided where required by the code official. Fire hydrants located across a public street shall not be utilized for calculations or considered as available to meet the fire flow and/or FDC connection requirements for projects. No structure shall be greater than 400 feet from a fire hydrant. All hydrants must be in place and accepted by the fire department prior to combustibles being brought on site. If common driveways are 150 feet or greater in length from the public street, the fire department access road and required turnaround shall comply with the currently adopted edition of the California Fire Code. You will need to show this area designated on the site plans. An approved fire apparatus access road shall be within 150 feet of all portions of the exterior walls of the first story of the buildings as measured by an approved route around the exterior of the building. It is measured as the hose lays. Please show this designated area on the plans as well. Required fire apparatus access and turnaround signage and markings shall comply with Appendix D of the California Fire Code and the California Vehicle Code. Maintain a minimum of 20-foot roadways for fire department access, which has to be an improved all-weather hard surface. Address numbers shall be posted on the buildings and shall be visible from the street. Installed numbers shall contrast with their background. The project is to meet the minimum fire flow requirements per the table in Appendix B of the most recently adopted edition of the California Fire Code. So, are there any questions? It's standard comments. So there will need to be some modifications to what was submitted. Whether it be you show and designate the fire lane and turnaround to keep the buildings at their locations, or you move the buildings closer.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay. Next with James with our building department.
So the main house is sprinkler, right? Yeah. So yeah, so the back units will have to be sprinklered also. Other than that, no comments at this time.
Okay.
Thank you, James. Next with Joe with Public Works.
No comment from the street department.
Thank you, Joe. Any comments, Robert?
If the buildings are gonna be sprinkled, we're gonna need a backflow device on them. Can services probably be fine for that area. Those are all the comments.
Thank you, Robert. Next with our police department, Mark, any comments on the project?
No, sir, no comments.
Thank you. And that's all comments from the departments. Does the applicant have any questions at this time?
Is requirement make the fence?
Not a requirement, but if you do want to upgrade your fencing, we just provide those standards. But yeah, just again, identify areas like for the private open space and the common open space for the development, which are just identifying on the site plan and meeting our minimum standards, which is 100 square feet per unit.
Hey, Oscar, let me just chime in here for engineering.
Right, Javier?
So I know all the public improvements were installed with the house, but with these units, they'll just require utilities to go back there, water and sewer services.
Thank you, Javier. Yes, and then we'll compile each department's comments on a letter, and the applicant should receive them in about 2 to 3 weeks from today's date.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have item number 2, which is PRC 2025-004. I'm sorry, 005, the roof. Want to join us at the table? All right, so we have the next item, which is PRC 2025-005. The applicant is proposing a change in occupancy from the previous use of retail sales to instructional services located at 234 North Main Street. The property is zoned downtown retail north of Olive and also has a general plan of downtown retail. The property also is within the downtown overlay. As far as comments from planning, the use is a permitted use within the DRN zone district, which falls under instructional services. Comments from staff, from planning would be majority related to any signage that you'll be proposing for the establishment, complying with chapter 305 of the development code and also our downtown design guidelines. Signs are required to be illuminated, either internally lit, or you can also have external lighting for those signs, and those are the wall signs. You can also have window signs not exceeding 50% of the area. If you propose any temporary signs, for example, grand opening, they are permitted with a permit, which goes for $19.75. And there is an application for that. If you propose any future temporary uses, for example, you want to have a grand opening event in which you'll want to propose it in the right of way, it will require like a community civic event or a temporary use permit, depending how the model is. And we'll provide that information in the PRC letter.
Okay.
Okay. Next with, those are all comments from planning, and next we'll go with fire department.
Okay, for this project, it shall comply with the latest applicable codes. The occupant load needs to be determined so that it can be verified by the building and fire departments. And then once that's determined, the occupant load will need to be posted inside the building. Fire extinguishers shall be placed to comply with the currently adopted edition of the California Fire Code. No further than 75-foot travel distance from each other, mounted in a readily visible and accessible location, no closer than 4 inches to the ground and higher than 48 inches to the top of the extinguisher. And then Knox access would be required, which is a Knox box placement. Now, that building is under one ownership. And it is sprinklered, so there may already be a box on the building. We just need to verify based on the distance and where it is. We may just include that suite in that box. So, and that's it from the fire.
Thank you, Clayton. Next with
So
our,
that sign
oh,
there, is that,
the window sign,
Or is it-
yes, that is allowable under the Porterville Development Code, yes, because it doesn't exceed 50% of the coverage of the window.
okay,
Yes, but if you want to propose any signs up on the wall of the building, it will require a permit and to meet our minimum standards.
okay.
Thank you. Next with our building department with James.
Yeah, so like Clayton was mentioning the occupant load, so we will need the exact measurements of the floor area. The building is sprinklered, which is good news. Based on the measurements of the building, then we would go to the code book and figure out the occupant load based off of that. The only thing I do see is if the occupant load does exceed 50 people or more, your second exit, so your back door would have to swing out instead of in,
Oh.
and it would have to have panic hardware, like bar that you push.
Yeah, the crash bar.
And then you would have to install some like exit signs, the ones that are lit up that say exit.
Oh.
And then you would have
No,
to,
they already have it.
and then you would also have to have, emergency lighting in there, so if there's a power outage, lights would come on. So
And this is only if it's over 50.
Right.
yeah, but to determine that, we need more information from
For the
you.
square footage.
Yeah, some measurements in there.
Okay.
So if you could just get back to us on that, that would,
Yeah, we can figure that out pretty quick.
we could
Oh,
help you
yeah,
out.
because it's been closed like for 3 weeks and I feel like.
We really just need the internal measurements so that
Okay.
that can be calculated.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so every room, every open space, just those measurements.
Okay.
And your draftsman can get that for you guys. Who prepare this.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Thank
it.
you. Next with Javier, with engineering.
For this one, engineering has no comments.
Thank you, Javier. Next with Public Works, starting with Robert.
No comments.
Thank you, Robert. Joe, any comments?
No comments.
Thank you. Next with our police department with Mark.
No comments.
Thank you, Mark. Does the applicant have any questions at this time regarding to today's project?
I do. Once we get the square footage sent over, then how soon can we start having the class again? We've been out
Have you-
almost 3
Have you
weeks.
applied for your business license?
Yes.
Okay, after this process, you will receive the letter in about 2 weeks from today's meeting. If you're able to meet, all the department's requirements, then we'll be able to sign off on the business license. Each department would have to, sign off on it. For planning, it is permitted, and then just complying with the other departments. So the sooner you're able to get those measurements, the quicker we'll be able to.
So, but we have to wait for 2 weeks, an additional 2 weeks?
No, as long as you're able to, get your business license signed off by each department,
Okay.
and then we'll make sure to review, your application and whatever requirements each department.
We're not gonna be able to sign it off yet, because we have to make sure that it would meet.
Correct.
Right.
All the comments that we just mentioned, but the sooner you can get that to us, within those 2 weeks, you just bring it in and.
Oh, okay.
and
Yeah, just
drop
come
it
in
off
and
to
drop it
us.
off to us. We can get that started. So you could, that way, you know, if you need to make modifications at the back door, you can get a contractor and get that process started.
Okay, okay.
Thank you.
Any of that stuff, say you gotta do the back door, you gotta add emergency lighting, all that stuff's you would have to submit for a plan, you know, for a permit.
And everything is up to par, then the only thing would be, the square footage. You need-
Yeah, so we can determine
Determine
what else
what-
is required.
Yeah. how many
Yeah,
people.
so the longer that takes, then we can, if we can get that, we can steer you down a path to get started making any modifications you need to make, or rule out that modifications may not be needed.
All right.
And that open space there is, there's nothing in there, there's no
Furniture.
workout
No.
benches.
Benches.
No.
Okay,
Nothing. It's as is.
okay,
Yeah.
it's just open room.
Yes.
Okay,
Mhm.
perfect, yeah. Sooner we get that, the sooner we can help you.
Well,
Get your
right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I've been
Thank
getting late, because 3 weeks and I'm doing, but.
You can come down and go hike with me at lunchtime. We top of the hill and back. Okay.
To your left.
Thank you. All right, thank you. Next, we have item number 3, which is, PRC 2025 006 for villas at Winding Creek. All right, let me go ahead and share my screen here. All right, so we have the applicants proposing a subdivision map here. 33 lot, single family residential subdivision. It is located on the northwest corner of the Poplar Ditch and South Indiana Street. The project is zoned low density residential and has a general plan land use of low density residential. For the planning side, I'm gonna go ahead and present the comments. So the applicant is proposing a subdivision map which requires entitlements. First, we would have to go through a tentative map, there's an application for that and some fees. As far as the fees for a tentative subdivision map is $3,004, plus a $39 per lot fee. The project will require a CEQA review of the development, which are environmental consultants would prepare the document and make the determination for the level of environmental review the project would require. The project will require a public hearing for the tentative subdivision map. As far as comments related to the design of the project, there are some lots being proposed that do not meet the minimum square footage, which for this zone district requires a minimum of 6,000 square feet per lot. The applicant can propose a small lot subdivision, which would require processing a conditional use permit. As far as other comments from planning, complying with section 20104 for residential single-family development, meeting the minimum setbacks, lot coverage, landscaping standards, for example. Complying with the minimum architecture articulation on all facades that face the street. Any fencing proposed complying with section 300.03 of the development code. As far as to meet the guiding policies of the general plan and the development ordinance, it will be required to provide street tree planting, like parkway trees, as part of our urban forestry program. After the final map, the tentative map has been approved, the applicant will require to do a final map as outlined in section 405 of the Porterville Development Ordinance. Parkland is a requirement as far as tentative maps. There is a process to dedicate or make an irrevocable offer of dedication of land or pay a fee in lieu of thereof, or combination of both. As far as one comment related to cul-de-sacs, our development code does outline cul-de-sacs not exceeding, cul-de-sacs may be permissible at a ratio of 20% of the lots to be served. Currently, we're serving, it exceeds 20% of those lots. So that is one comment, if we could possibly modify that or potentially go through a process to vary regulations through a conditional use permit can be an option for the applicant. And that is all the preliminary comments from planning at this time. Next with our fire department.
This is primarily going to be single-family residential properties, so it shall comply with all applicable codes. Fire hydrants shall be placed based on distance no greater than 500 foot spacing for residential applications. The fire hydrant system shall be looped through the subdivision. No structure shall be greater than 400 feet from a fire hydrant and maintain the 2 points of entry and exit. If this goes out for any further reconfiguring, it still has to have 2 ways in and 2 ways out.
Thank you, Clayton. Next with James,
No comment.
with building, no comments. Next with Javier Sanchez with engineering.
All right, thanks, Oscar. For engineering, it looks like local streets in uh, Indiana, all the street cross sections, they look good. One thing we would be asking for is that dedication and easement continue south of the proposed Myrtle Avenue. Just because that there's going to be a project to what's the word? We're going to extend the length of that culvert crossing and over the Poplar Ditch. And so if that can just get extended to the property line, that would help that situation. There are a few lots, as you can see there, lot 13 and 23 for sure. Not sure where the structural land on lot 14, but with those being in flood zone A, they would have to be a removal process to make sure those are not built within the floodway or flood zone. So we'll have to go through those processes as outlined through FEMA procedures.
So it would have to go through FEMA, or we could build those lots up to remove them from the,
We have
I guess.
we have a floodplain ordinance.
Okay.
That I can share, and that'll give us the process to address that.
Thank you.
And then lastly is maintaining an easement, because there's currently a need to do a recharge line. It exists now, but we just need it to be within an easement. And we're thinking that's the Wisconsin Street right of way would be the best for ground. It's like a storm line, but it's more like a groundwater recharge line to go from the Poplar Ditch to that basin. And it can be within street right of way.
Okay.
Just so that that's maintained. I guess just one last small comment is the bulbs on the cul-de-sacs there. They at curb face, they would need to be a minimum radius of the diameter is a minimum of 96 feet. So that would be, can't think right now, 48-foot radius. Yeah. They'll just have to get a little bit bigger. And that's all engineering would have.
Hey Javier, this is Sean at AW Engineering. Does the city have a standard for those, 48-foot radius on the bulbs?
Yeah, it's so we need to revise it, but it is what's in the fire code. And so it's I'm calling that out because it's part of the street, but the authorities coming currently from the fire code. We just need to update our standard to comply with that. It's currently not shown correctly.
Okay, we'll get it updated.
Okay.
And then when you say that you need an additional right-of-way dedication south of Myrtle, are you saying take Myrtle's south side right-of-way and extend it all the way down to the ditch?
No, it'd be more so the Indiana Street right away.
Okay.
An easement, yeah, the north-south. Yeah, so just like you have north of there where it's 10 foot from curb face this right of way, and then the 10-foot landscape easement, the same would be south of.
Okay, that makes sense. Extend that basically that block wall easement, extend it south of Myrtle.
Correct.
Okay.
Thank you. Next with Public Works, starting with Robert.
No comments.
Thank you, Robert. Next with Joe.
The only thing I see is when you're coming on Myrtle, coming onto Indiana, I don't see where they have a stop sign, stop bar and legend. That will need to be installed right there. And that's
Thank
all the comments I have.
Next with our police department with Mark.
No comments.
Thank you, Mark. All right, that is all comments from staff here. Are there any additional questions from the applicant at this time?
Clarification, if you don't mind. Sorry, is somebody else saying something? No.
Go ahead, Christina.
The lot size for those lots that are under 6,000, you said a conditional use permit would be needed. You'd also mentioned the cul-de-sac size. Can that be all on one conditional use permit, or do they have to be separate?
It could be under one conditional use permit application. You will have to identify on the application, what the request is. So yes, if we're gonna be proposing lots under 6,000 square feet, it can be achieved, through a small lot subdivision. And we'll process that through a conditional use permit as part of the entitlement process. And we do have also in our development code, section 400.05, authority to vary regulations. In this case, the cul-de-sac exceeding 20% of the lots that they what's the word? Exceeding the 20%, so that could be something that you could include as part of your conditional use permit request.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, on that cul-de-sac, I thought it was per the city standard. I thought they had a specific distance that they were going by. Am I not seeing that somewhere?
There's also a maximum distance of not exceeding 600 feet.
Right.
Correct, that's another standard.
Yeah, which we're good on that part, but you said that I guess on a different piece, the length or the amount of lots that it's serving, because it's more than 20%, we can add that to the CUP.
Under 400.05, we do have a process to vary regulations, and this could be something that the applicant can request.
Okay.
And be a discretionary approval, which will be a public hearing, and our city council would be the final determining factor.
Yeah, sounds good.
Thank you. So with that, you will be receiving each department's comments in a letter in about 2 to 3 weeks from today's meeting. And if any questions arise between now and then, feel free to give us a call.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. All right, next, we have item number 4, which is PRC 2025-007. We have the applicant, Premium Blossom. All right, let me share my screen here. So we have the applicant proposing a land division of the existing property located at 1432 West Olive Avenue, being Unit A. The property is zoned general and service commercial and also has a land use designation of general and service commercial. The applicant is also requesting a development ordinance amendment for a text amendment. in relation to the allowable uses for a cannabis dispensary in the commercial district, specifically the general and service commercial zone district. Let's start with fire department first.
Project shall comply with all applicable codes. Per previous comments to the property owner and previous tenant, there is to be no construction, storage, parking, or use beyond 300 feet from Olive Avenue right of way until the on-site hydrant is installed. Kind of
That 10 feet back from that wall.
about 50. It's about 50 feet back from that wall.
Okay, I can't remember. What
Yeah.
I remember when
Because I think-
measured it once.
Because I want to say it's like the overall length of the lot is like almost 400 feet deep, and so it's got to be no more beyond
Yeah,
300.
I can't remember what we
So,
measured
yeah.
that day.
Yeah. Well, that'll just be a standard comment until you improve it with a hydrant, and then we don't care what you do back there.
Yeah.
So,
And that just tying into the fire hydrant that we put in and running it back to the back, right?
so if you have more than 2 hydrants, the system has to be looped. Unless you do another connection, you could have 2 single connections, but if you have 2 hydrants on the same line, it has to be looped where they have water coming from both directions.
Yeah,
But if they're on a single dead end line each, that's acceptable too. So,
yeah, okay.
yeah, and then if something develops behind you, or they do have a water line that runs through or something, or next to you or something, where you can do an easement and tie across, that would be the time.
Yeah. Well, they don't plan on doing anything back feet.
And we haven't had any issues out there.
Yeah.
So I just have to officially say that.
Thank you. Next. With building,
And this is just for the slot split, right?
this is the lot split and a proposal for a text amendment for to allow the cannabis dispensary in the CG zone district.
No, okay, no comments.
Thank you. So yes, so for planning, the project is proposing a land division, so it would require to process a tentative parcel map in order to split the property into 2 lots. The dimensions or minimums are being met here for the CG zone district. There are fees associated with the tentative parcel map process, which is $1,500 for a tentative parcel map fee. It will require an environmental review of the project. We'll have our environmental coordinator provide that level of review in the PRC letter. It will require also a final parcel map to finalize the land division. You have up to 2 years after the tentative map in order to process that. As far as proposal of the trash enclosure here, complying with section 300.13 of the Porterville Development Ordinance, which do require certain standards for the material, the doors, landscaping planters at the perimeter of the enclosure, and no parking in front of the enclosure. Those are some examples. As far as comments in relation to the development ordinance amendment for a text amendment, that will be required to go through a public hearing process. There is fees associated with that, which is development ordinance amendments $4,213.
What is that for?
That is to allow cannabis dispensaries in a commercial district. Currently, the development ordinance allows in our downtown districts and in the industrial, which include downtown retail north, downtown retail south. Let's see, and also our industrial zone districts. So the text amendment would be a process to propose for the applicant to propose a change in the code in order to allow in the CG zone district.
Okay.
Because currently it's not a permitted use in that zone district. So a development ordinance amendment is a public hearing. So we'll process that. There will be noticing required for the adjacent properties. There are standards under 301.23 of the development code to comply with. And also chapter 15 of the Porterville Municipal Code. Chapter 15 is in Article 7. Those are our preliminary comments from planning.
Okay.
Next with our engineering department, Javier.
The only comment we'd have is that once the parcel split's done and then building permits come in, then there may be comments for the public improvements. But for the lot split itself, we'll just review the map. Yeah. So that's all the comments we'd have.
Thank you, Javier.
Mhm.
Next with Public Works, with Robert.
Since this is a commercial building, will you need backflow devices and all water services? That's all the comment.
Thank you, Robert. Next with Joe.
No comments.
Thank you, Joe. Next with our police department with Mark.
No comments at this time.
Thank you, Mark. All right, those are all comments, preliminary comments from staff at this time. Are there any additional questions from the applicant?
No, so we just need to submit a map for the lot.
Yes, it'll be a tentative parcel map application. It will be required
Do
to
you
be.
have that application or
We have the application, yes.
what's it called?
Tentative parcel map, since you're dividing the existing property into 2 lots. It does require to be prepared by a licensed surveyor or a civil engineer that's licensed to do the work. And we'll be providing these comments in the letter in about 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay, but do you get the paperwork for the tentative map, parcel map from you?
Yes, we have a city application and we could provide it.
And we give that to our civil engineer and have them do the,
Correct.
okay,
And then-
when can we get the tentative, partial map paperwork?
We could give you an application after this meeting.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions at this time?
No.
No?
Once we submit that application, what's the turnaround time for it to be reviewed?
Javier, you want to answer that one, since it will be reviewed by our surveyor?
Right, usually on the first submittal, it takes us about up to 4 weeks. And then if there's any resubmittals, it speeds up within 1 to 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Mhm.
So yeah, we'll be providing the comments in about 2 to 3 weeks, in relation to today's application. Feel free to reach out if you have any additional questions.
Okay, but we'll just hang out and get the paperwork we need.
Okay,
Okay.
sounds good. Thank you. All right. Last on the list, we have our fifth item of today's agenda, which is PRC 2025-008 for the Ledesma subdivision. Let me go ahead and share my screen here.
Okay. Oh, okay, you're right there. You're on top of me, Brenda. Jesus. Oh, they're listening to me? Ah,
So for the fifth item, the applicant is proposing to divide the existing parcel at 119 South Cottage Street. The project is proposing a subdivision map consisting of 9 total lots. The property is zoned RS2 low density residential and has a general plan land use of low density residential. So comments from planning are in relation to the minimum lot standards. For example, the RS2 zone requires minimum lot width of 60 feet wide. The project is proposing 50 feet frontage, 53 feet of lot frontage per lot. The applicant may propose an adjustment of the configuration or can process a conditional use permit as outlined in 400.05 to area regulations. As far as fees associated with the land division of subdivision map, a tentative subdivision map fee is $3,004, and there is a per lot fee of $39. This project will require an environmental review, which our environmental coordinator will identify in the PRC letter. And they'll identify what level of environmental review the project would be required to process.
okay.
And also, there are requirements as far as providing subdivision trees as part of the improvements. Any landscaping requirements complying with Chapter 303 of the Development Code. The development of each lot complying with Chapter 201 of the Porterville Development Ordinance in regards to setbacks, lot coverage, designs. And that's pretty much our big items, our ticket items for planning at this time. And with that, we'll move along with our engineering division with Javier.
All right, thanks, Oscar. For engineering, let's see, so you've shown that curb gutter and sidewalk all be built in front of the lots there. Will require a 3/4 minimum street, which 10, 10, and 8. So it's about 2 feet shy. So just have to go out a little bit more. We'd require 28 feet because it's 2 10-foot lanes and then an 8-foot parking lane. Then you have it showing tying into Brown Avenue, so that's good. Water exists already through there. For sewer, you may have to extend it just a little bit more to capture that last 2 lots. Um, and then of course there'll be street lighting required as part of those improvements. At least on the east side of where your development is.
Right.
So, but yeah, that's the comments engineering has.
Okay.
Sure.
Next with fire department, Clayton.
Project shall comply with all applicable codes. Fire hydrants shall be placed based on distance. No greater spacing than 500 feet for residential applications. And no structure shall be greater than 400 feet from a fire hydrant. So essentially, I'll have to put a fire hydrant in somewhere along that stretch there.
What fire?
Next with our building division with James.
No comments.
Thank you, James. With our public works department, starting with Robert.
No comments.
Thank you, Robert. Next with Joe.
No comments.
Thank you, Joe. Next with our police department with Mark.
No comments.
Thank you, Mark. So those are all the comments from staff related to today's project. Does the applicant have any questions at this time for staff?
Yes, that's Jesus Gutierrez, the agent.
Hey, Jesus.
Yeah, how are you? How are you? So to get a variation on the width from 60 to 53, we have to go through the conditional use permit process, I hear, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
To deviate from the minimum city standards.
Right.
For this zone district, lots are required to be a minimum of 60 feet wide.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
The applicant can either modify their lots to meet the minimums or can make that request as part of their tentative map, and we could process the through a conditional use permit.
Okay. So we can, the tentative map can be prepared for the subdivision. And then once it's prepared, then it could be submitted with the request for a reduction in the width of the lots at the same time.
Correct, and that will be discretionary approvals from our
Right.
city council.
Okay. All right. What else do we have? We got the streets, 500 feet maximum, the fire hydrant distance. Okay. How long does it take to process a conditional use permit? Usually.
I would suggest that the time factor is more dependent on the map than it is on the conditional use permit.
Okay. All right.
Right.
I mean, it would be taken to the same city council meeting. The conditional use permit processing is just, it kind of is enveloped by the processing of the tentative map.
Okay. All right. Let's see. And the width of the street that you would want us to put in would be 28 feet wide instead of 26 that we are proposing
Correct.
with extension. Okay. All right. Okay. I think we're good for now. Oscar, are you, or Cesar, are you there?
It's Oscar, and yes, we'll be providing the department's comments in a letter in 2 to 3 weeks timeframe from today's meeting.
Okay.
If you have any questions between now and then, just feel free to reach out and we'll be able to assist you with that.
Okay. Sounds good. Cesar,
Perfect.
are you there?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
So,
Do you have any questions?
I do have a question. I'm new to this, so I apologize if it's a dumb question. But because we're giving up half of the street and then some land on the Brown Street, is there anything in return to us, or is just basically given back to the city?
Yeah, it's just a requirement of development.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
All right. Okay. Nothing else. I think we're good. We'll wait for the letter to come in and then we can go through those, conditions.
Yes, thank you, Jesus and Cesar, for the application.
Thank you. Yes, thank you all. Thank you all.
Thank you.
With that was the last item on today's agenda. And I'm gonna go ahead and end today's PRC meeting at 2:29 PM.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.